Hey, you see this right here? Yeah, this is what Movember does to you. Okay, the world seems like it's gone to shit, and we need something to lift some spirits. Last year I ranted like a red lantern about the elements of games that I hate. And, well, I figured that this year, specifically the time of year when those of us in America celebrate a holiday with questionable origins, I'm gonna adopt an attitude of gratitude and give thanks to those elements of gaming that I enjoy. There are a lot of things I love about video games, and I'm going to highlight 10 elements in particular that make games more enjoyable for me, at least when they're done right. I don't think I really need to explain this any further. Gather the family around the table. It's game time! I like to think of myself as an experienced gamer, one who knows his way around a level. But I know there are people who like things easier because they don't like losing. At the same time, I also know that there are the super hardcore crowd who like their skills pushed to their limits, or are simply masochistic. That's why I can appreciate games that let you pick your difficulty level. Are you new to the game or the genre? Set the dial to easy and shrug off the voices in your head that laugh at you. Do you laugh in the face of danger? Crank it up to max and prove your mettle on hard mode. Or you could find a happy medium somewhere in between, like I tend to do. It's especially nice when you can actually change the difficulty in the course of the game, like in The World Ends With You. Noise getting too loud? Turn it down. Need more rewards? Crank it up! One of the best uses of difficulty settings I've seen is the Fiend's Cauldron in Kid Icarus Uprising. A sliding scale of difficulty that has you wager hearts on higher difficulties, introducing a great risk-reward mechanic. Heck, it was later used in Smash 4. So, are you feeling gutsy? So you've beaten the final boss, watched the final cutscenes, and learned the names of many hardworking individuals whose names you may or may not be able to pronounce. Well, now what? Are there times you've watched the ending and wondered, what if? Maybe events A, B, and C would have turned out differently if you'd done X, Y, and Z. I don't know. When a game has multiple endings, it provides an interesting perspective on how your actions could have affected the game's story. For example, in Undertale, there are 3 endings, depending on whether you spare every monster, kill every monster, or somewhere in between. Some RPGs, like Persona 4, have a true ending, which requires you to fulfill certain conditions in order to achieve it. Then there are games with multiple playable characters, such as fighting games, whose endings allow you to see various what-if scenarios, or simply to see how the story unfolds from multiple perspectives. This also applies to games like Sengoku Basara or Dynasty Warriors, which is a game series I've had my eye on since playing a couple of the spin-offs. Though I'll be the first to admit that this practice has been handled better in some games than in others. Okay, a little tweak here, a little nudge there. Perfect! Looks just like me! More now than ever, the number of games has increased that want to immerse the player in the game. And one way to do that is character creation, or rather, customization options in general. When you can customize your character, your abilities, or anything else, besides options, it can make you feel like you're more in the game. Most competitive shooters let you set up your loadout to suit your playstyle. One set of equipment not working for you? That's okay, try another. Another example is the Gummy Ship from the Kingdom Hearts series. With all the parts you can earn throughout the game, you can build a ship from the ground up. But among my favorites are the aforementioned character creators. MMOs and several Western RPGs have an insane amount of options in creating your character. With so many factors you can customize, you can make your character look like yourself so you can feel like you're actually in the game, or if you're so inclined, you can make it look like one of your favorite characters. One of my favorites is the character creator in Soul Calibur 3 and beyond. When you can create characters like what I've seen, why would you want to say no? Playing through an epic RPG or speedrunning a platformer by yourself is all well and good, but sometimes you just want to get in on some of that sweet, juicy multiplayer action. Multiplayer has become more prominent ever since the rise of the internet, but even in the early days of gaming, there have been a lot of games that you could enjoy with a buddy, even going back as far as fucking Pong. There's a few different types of multiplayer. There's the kind where you pass around the controller, taking turns and going for the high score. That kind was probably the most prominent in the old days. Then you've got the more directly competitive games, stuff like fighting games, racing games, sports games, what have you. those can get pretty salty if you know what I mean. Especially if said games are plagued by luck, poor design choices, or whatever else can get in the way. Probably my favorite kind of multiplayer, though, is co-op. Yeah, taking on the world is all well and good, but when you get to do it alongside your buddies, it just makes it more fun. That's one reason that Monster Hunter has become one of my favorite franchises. Some of these beasts are just too big and powerful for the average gamer to be expected to handle on their own, but when the squad is on point, even the biggest go down. This is taken to its logical extreme in the MMORPG genre. With huge, massive worlds filled with other players, you can pretty much do whatever kind of multiplayer you damn well want. Stand beside me, or against me. Choose wisely, young Padawan. When there's only one way to get from the title screen to the end credits, I find it harder to want to pick it up again once that ending screen pops up. That's one of the things I appreciate about the Mega Man series so much. Stage select. What better way to break up the linearity of, for example, stage-based 2D platformers, than to have a choice as to what order you take through the levels leading up to the grand finale. Linearity in and of itself isn't bad, but it can be difficult to do without it becoming boring. But with Stage Select, you have more options, and more control over your experience. Some games, like the aforementioned Mega Man series, tend to lay out their stages nice and menu-like, well-organized and shit. Other times you've got a world map or a hub world, which is nice too. In some games, you can also unlock new levels on said map by finding another exit. The most prominent example I can think of this is the majority of 2D Mario games, especially the new Super Mario Bros. Line. Each stage you clear opens up one or maybe even more new levels, and they even throw in the iconic warp zones for good measure. This even extends to the 2D shooting genre in the form of the Darius series, which allows you to pick your next stage after defeating a boss, and heck, even some fighting games such as Street Fighter III Third Strike and the Arcana Heart series. Alright, who's next for a beatdown? If you've got a game, one surefire way to increase that all-important replay value is to have a variety of characters to play as. When you have an assortment of characters with their own playing styles, you're more than likely to find one that fits your style. The most prominent example of the value of multiple characters is the fighting game genre. If you're just starting out in a game, you may want to start with a character who's balanced and easy to learn. Once you've got the hang of the game, well, then you can branch out depending on how you play. Want a character that specializes in speedy hit-and-run tactics? You can do that. Want to be a hulking brute that can crush men's skulls like Sparrowig between thighs? You can do that. Want to annoy your opponents with projectiles and zoning? You can do that too. Having a multitude of characters is also an important part of racing games, where different characters and cars mean different top speeds and acceleration ratings on the track, and the sports genre, especially when teams are tuned to perform like their real-life counterparts, as well as games like Dynasty Warriors and its various spin-offs. Heck, it's absolutely ridiculous in crossover games such as Marvel vs. Capcom. But the logical extreme is Arcana Heart, which not only lets you pick a character, but an Arcana to go with. With 23 playable fighters in Arcana Heart 3 and an Arcana for each, you have a total of 529 possible combinations. Just try to use them all in any reasonable amount of time. While I fall under the category of filthy casual, I still enjoy fighting games to quite an extent. It can be satisfying to rack up damage when you land that sweet, sweet combo, that much I can't deny. But when you want to be really flashy, there are few ways better than topping it off with a super move. Moves like these have been a part of the genre since way back in the days of Super Turbo, or heck, as far back as Art of Fighting, and pulling one off feels so good. Typically these moves are powered by a super meter, or can only be activated under certain conditions. And more often than not, these moves can be tricky to pull off, and can be punished easily if they whiff. But when you pull them off, they deal quite a bit of damage and just look plain awesome. Over the years, these moves have gotten flashier and more awesome looking, or in some cases, rather disturbing. Street Fighter's super moves can be eye candy, and the King of Fighters has really amped up the flash in recent years. Arc System Works fighters take these to the extreme with Guilty Gear's instant kills, Blaze Blue's Astral Heats, and Persona 4 Arena's finishers. And these moves aren't limited to fighting games either. RPGs have had their fair share of super move goodness. Of particular note are the Tales series Mystic Arts, and Final Fantasy ever since the limit breaks of 7, such as Cloud's iconic Omni Slash, which eventually made it into Smash Bros., which is a fighting game, and was also in Dissidia, also a fighting game. And the circle is complete. So many enemies and projectiles and no way to dodge them. Don't worry, I've got plenty of health to spare. Thank you, invincibility frames! I'm thankful that something like this exists, especially when it's something that I feel a lot of people may take for granted. The idea is simple. You get hit, you start flashing, and for that brief moment, the only things that can kill you are pits, crushing traps, and maybe running out of time. Tell me, how many times have you gone through a particularly tough stretch in an already hard game and managed to get through by the skin of your teeth because of those precious few seconds? Or how many times have you landed on instant death spikes only for that blinky blink to save you long enough to jump to safety? Or how about the original Super Mario Bros., where reaching Bowser while powered up virtually guaranteed that you could reach the axe? But if you truly want to appreciate the value of invincibility frames, try a situation where they don't exist. Like hard mode in the Rockman No Constancy ROM hack. Or fighting sands in Undertale. When you combine the weak attacks resulting in no invincibility frames with the added damage from what essentially amounts to poison, it means having a very bad time. Back in my day, we didn't have this newfangled downloadable content. If we wanted to get the best things in our games, we had to earn them, dagnabbit! Nowadays, it feels more and more like secrets and unlockables are becoming a bygone relic. But I appreciate when I can get them. When I unlock something in a new game, I get two gifts in one. First, I get the satisfaction of achieving something, and second, I get something new in the game that I can use. Well, most of the time. And if it's an Easter egg, then I still get the feeling of accomplishment, something I do not take for granted. You know how in a lot of older games you can discover cheat codes by completing the game under certain conditions, usually on a higher difficulty setting? Or how about claiming the spoils that await you after defeating a super boss in most RPGs? Or unlocking new characters in genres like racing and fighting games? Probably my favorite instance of this is Super Smash Bros. You could be playing through one of the series' many modes when all of a sudden, you see that silhouette of a new challenger approaching. And then you're thrown into that pivotal battle and you unleash all your skills because you want that character in your roster so bad. But it feels so good to unlock that character with your victory. Particularly because, hey, you fucking earned it. So enjoy the spoils of your efforts, you glorious bastard, you. I'll be honest, there are times when I feel weak. That's one reason I love video games. They give me moments when I feel more powerful than I ever could feel in real life. Number one is the embodiment of this feeling. Power-ups. Oh man, we've hit the fucking jackpot! Ever since Pac-Man's Power Pellets, power-ups have been a major part of the fabric of gaming. Whether it comes in the form of an item that gives you a boost, an upgrade to give you a new ability, or a new weapon to add to your arsenal, there is no denying that when you get a power-up, you feel stronger. Okay, I can think of maybe one exception, but let's not dwell on the negative, right? Power-ups are a centerpiece of a lot of my favorite games and franchises. The Mario series power-ups are famous for giving Mario the power he needs to get through any situation he finds himself in, from fire flowers to wing caps to the ever-loving star. Mega Man and his near-bottomless arsenal of weapons that he copies from fallen robot masters make for some of the most satisfying pew-pews on pixels. Hell, entire genres have thrived on power-ups. 2D shooters and run-and-guns are among the biggest sources of these things. Remember the spreader from Contra? Yeah, you probably do, and if you don't, go play Contra. And do I even need to mention the Metroidvania genre? These games reward exploration with a smorgasbord of upgrades and new abilities. Take down a boss? Walk right up and pick up your hard-earned upgrade. Ooh, that wall just crumbled. What's behind it? A missile expansion. When I get my hands on a power-up, I feel like I can do more, and let me tell you, that's a feeling I cherish. I'm the Quarter Guy, and I've been playing video games for a long time, and one thing that I've learned from them is that you won't get anywhere without taking action. Whether it's in games or in real life, just waiting for things to happen won't change anything. So find a way to make a difference. Remember, you're stronger than you think. I've grown up in Wisconsin. I've stood outside Lambeau Field volunteering to shovel snow off the stands. I've trudged through falling snow to go to class in college. I've gotten my car stuck in a goddamn snowdrift. You tell me winter is coming? I say bring it on. Next time, top 10 favorite winter levels. It's game time! Well, we've come to the end of another countdown. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave your feedback in the comments, and if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button and be sure to click the bell so you know when I've got something on tap. There's also my social media and my live streaming on Twitch. Also, if you want to help me make the channel better, you can donate to my Patreon and even score some sweet perks as well. Thanks again, and until next time, this is the Quarter Guy, signing out.